The clock strikes midnight on September 1st, and Leo suddenly feels the universe whisper a secret too powerful to ignore. Don't get too confident, your luck always runs out. Someone close mutters unfairly, shaking Leo's trust. But instead of shrinking, Leo laughs, a bold reaction that leaves everyone stunned, as if they know something no one else does. Meet Leo, born under the sign of fire. Passionate, magnetic, and unstoppable when they believe in their path. All through the year, Leo sacrificed rest, comfort, and even relationships just to chase the dream burning in their heart. And while family and friends cheer loudly in public, behind closed doors, jealousy and doubt quietly weigh on their words. Watch what happens this month. You won't even recognize yourself. A mentor figure hints cryptically, raising the suspense. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing where my Leo family gathers. And if you've ever felt underestimated but kept fighting anyway, hit subscribe now, you belong here. Because September won't just test Leo's courage. It will reveal a dramatic twist that could change their entire destiny. Part 1. Introduction, a cosmic moment. September arrives like a breath of fresh air. And for Leo, it is anything but ordinary. The month doesn't simply slip onto the calendar, it roars in with a promise. A cosmic drumbeat that says change is no longer a possibility, it's a certainty. There's a spark in the atmosphere, subtle yet undeniable, the kind of energy you don't just observe, you feel. It's the same sensation you get when a storm is about to break. When the air becomes charged, restless, waiting for the first crack of thunder. For Leo, this isn't just another turn of the page, it's the opening of an entirely new chapter. At the heart of it all stands the Leo soul, bold, radiant, and unwilling to shrink back into the shadows. Leos have always carried within them the fire of the sun itself. But this September, that flame doesn't just glow, it expands, threatening to consume every limitation that once held them back. And yes, the thought of such expansion is thrilling. But it's also intimidating. Growth never arrives dressed as comfort. Instead, it sneaks in disguised as disruption, as those subtle nudges that turn into undeniable pushes. For many Leos, September feels like standing at the edge of something vast, the kind of precipice that demands courage to step forward. This is where the story deepens, because transformation is rarely neat. It doesn't knock politely at the door, it bursts in unannounced, scattering old certainties, shaking foundations, and testing resilience. For some, this feels like chaos. For Leo, it feels like destiny. Their struggles, the sleepless nights, the lingering doubts, they weren't punishments. They were preparations. The universe has been sharpening them quietly, forging strength in the fires of challenge. And now the moment has come to see the purpose behind it all. September becomes the moment when the dots finally connect. Imagine the lion itself, pacing restlessly, sensing change in the wind. The air shifts, the ground trembles faintly, and deep inside, instinct whispers, it's time. This is the spirit of Leo in September 2025. Not timid, not hesitant, but aware that the universe has placed something in their path that cannot be ignored. This awareness is both a gift and a responsibility. A reminder that the role of Leo is not only to shine, but to guide, to inspire, to be the light when others falter. And so, September begins with a call. Not a gentle one, not the kind you can dismiss with a shrug, but a resounding call to step forward, to let go of what no longer fits, to face the fears that still linger in quiet corners of the heart, and to walk boldly into a future already written in the stars. For Leo, this month is not about surviving change, it's about embodying it. The energy rising now is the beginning of a transformation so profound that by the time the season turns again, nothing will look the same. Part 2, the September energy shift. September doesn't arrive quietly for Leo. It comes carrying the hum of planetary movements that seem to whisper directly to their spirit. The sun, their ruling star, has just made its transition from Virgo's meticulous realm into Libra's balancing act. This shift alone is powerful, for it urges Leos to step outside the comfort of focusing on details and instead lean into harmony, relationships, and the wider stage of connection. The very core of who they are is being asked to expand. Not in isolation, but in partnership with the world around them. And it doesn't stop there. Mars, the planet of drive and courage, flares brightly in the cosmic sky, creating tension but also possibility. For Leo, this can feel like waking up after a long night of restless dreams. Suddenly everything feels urgent. Pressing, alive, the heart beats faster, the mind races with ideas, and opportunities appear where only obstacles once stood. Some Leos might even feel a tug of war inside themselves, the desire to leap forward colliding with the fear of what happens if they stumble. That's the nature of Mars, it pushes. Sometimes too hard, but always with the intent of sparking action. Jupiter also plays a subtle but crucial role this month, offering expansion and optimism in areas where Leo has been carrying doubts. Imagine planting seeds months ago, perhaps not even knowing whether they would grow. September becomes the moment those tiny shoots begin to break through the soil, reminding Leo that their patience, their persistence, has not been in vain. It's as if the universe is leaning in, saying, "You were never waiting in silence. You were preparing in faith." That realization alone carries a deep sense of reassurance. But what does this energy actually feel like in daily life? For some, it's the sudden inspiration to take a risk at work, to speak up in a meeting, to chase after a promotion they once thought impossible. For others, it might be the courage to open their heart again, to step back into love after seasons of disappointment. And for many, it simply feels like clarity after fog, the quiet but steady sense that they finally know where they're headed. September's shift, then, is less about grand fireworks and more about alignment. It's the pieces clicking together after months, even years, of feeling scattered. The sun's move into Libra softens Leo's fire just enough to invite collaboration and balance, while Mars and Jupiter fuel that fire with energy and belief. The result is a perfect storm of clarity, confidence, and courage. And perhaps most importantly, this energy reminds Leo that they are not at the mercy of fate, they are co-creators with it. The cosmic weather is favorable, yes, but it is their willingness to step forward, to seize the momentum, that transforms possibility into reality. September does not hand Leo the crown, it simply lights the path to it. Part 3. Transformation in motion. Why Leos feel restless. Restlessness has a way of creeping in before transformation fully arrives. For Leo in September 2025, this restlessness is not a flaw, not a sign of impatience, it is the heartbeat of change. It begins quietly, like a whisper in the back of the mind. Is this all there is? A job that once felt secure suddenly feels confining. A relationship that once seemed unshakable begins to show cracks. A routine that used to bring comfort now feels like a cage. This inner stirring is not random. It is the soul's way of preparing Leo for the expansion waiting just beyond the horizon. Leos are not strangers to desire. They are dreamers, leaders, and visionaries at heart. Yet, when the universe calls for a deeper transformation, even the boldest lion can feel uneasy. The feeling is almost contradictory, wanting more while clinging to the familiar. It's as if Leo is standing at the edge of a stage. Spotlight glowing, the audience waiting, but a part of them still hesitates to step forward. They know something greater is calling, but the echo of old doubts and fears tries to hold them back. This is where September delivers its lesson. Restlessness is not punishment, but invitation. When the heart feels unsettled, it is often because it knows there is more to be lived, more to be claimed, more to be expressed. Leos who sense this discomfort should not dismiss it, but rather lean into it. It is the signal that they are growing, and growth rarely feels calm. Just as the seed must break through the soil in chaos and struggle to reach the sun, so too must Leo break through the old layers of identity to reach their next level of self. In daily life, this restlessness might show up in small but noticeable ways. A sudden frustration with routines that once felt fine. An urge to speak up more boldly at work, even if it risks disapproval. A tug to pursue a passion long set aside. Whether that's writing, creating, or leading, these urges are not distractions, they are compass points. Each one nudges Leo closer to the path of authenticity they were always meant to walk. For some, this will feel like an internal battle, the comfort of the known versus the promise of the unknown. But the truth is that Leo was never meant to shrink. Their nature is expansion. Their calling is visibility. Their gift is courage. Restlessness, then, is the soul's way of shaking them awake, reminding them that complacency is not their destiny. So as September unfolds, Leos can reframe the unease they feel. Instead of asking, "Why am I so unsettled?" they can begin to ask, "What is this feeling pointing me toward?" The answer may not arrive all at once, but step by step, the path reveals itself, and with every step, the restlessness gives way to clarity. Part 4. Thriving versus surviving, the real test. There is a difference between surviving change and thriving in it, and September 2025 asks Leo to make that choice. Surviving means clinging tightly to whatever is left when life begins to shift. It means holding on to routines, relationships, or identities even when they no longer fit. Thriving, on the other hand, means stepping boldly into the unknown, trusting that even if the ground shakes, something stronger will rise in its place. For Leo, the question is clear: will they merely endure this season, or will they embrace it as a catalyst for greatness? Survival is instinctual. It is what any of us do when faced with uncertainty. But Leo was not born to simply endure, they were born to shine. Thriving requires courage, and it requires trust. It is choosing to see change not as an ending, but as the beginning of something larger. It is deciding to turn restlessness into action, doubt into clarity, and fear into fire. This is not an easy path, but it is the one that will shape Leo into the truest version of themselves. What does this look like in everyday life? Imagine a Leo who has spent years at a steady job, grateful for stability but quietly aching for more. Surviving would mean staying put, convincing themselves it's safer not to risk it. Thriving would mean listening to that inner pull, updating the resume, seeking opportunities that align with their passion, even if it feels risky. Or picture a Leo in a relationship that has become stagnant. Surviving would mean going through the motions, keeping the peace while their spirit feels unseen. Thriving would mean having the courage to address the truth, to either rebuild the bond with honesty or make space for a connection that honors who they've become. The choice between surviving and thriving is often subtle, but its impact is profound. Each decision builds upon the next, shaping not just the days ahead but the person Leo becomes. September places them at this crossroads, offering reminders through every nudge of restlessness and every flash of inspiration. The universe isn't asking for perfection, it is asking for willingness. Willingness to grow, to release, and to trust that transformation leads somewhere meaningful. And here's the beautiful truth: Leos already have what it takes. Their natural resilience, their warmth, their ability to lead with heart, these are the tools that allow them to thrive even in uncertainty. They don't need to manufacture strength, they only need to remember it. The year of triumph was never about smooth sailing. It was always about proving to themselves that they can rise above storms. Not just surviving them but turning them into stages where they shine even brighter. So, as the month unfolds, every Leo is asked to pause and reflect. Am I holding on just to get through this? Or am I stepping forward to grow through this? The answer to that question will define not only September, but the years that follow. Part 5. Leo as leader, owning the stage. Leadership is not something Leo has to chase, it's something that naturally finds them. Wherever they go, their presence carries weight. People notice the way they hold themselves, the confidence in their voice, the courage in their choices. Yet in September 2025, leadership takes on a deeper meaning. It is no longer about simply being admired, it is about stepping fully into the role of guide, of anchor, of example for others. The stage has been prepared, and the spotlight is waiting. The question is, will Leo step into it with authenticity, or shrink back in doubt? True leadership is not about control or dominance. It is not about demanding attention, but about earning trust. Leo has the heart of the lion, which means they carry both strength and warmth in equal measure. When they lead from ego, they may come across as intimidating or self-focused. But when they lead from the heart, they inspire. They create spaces where others feel safe, uplifted, and encouraged to be their best selves. September asks Leo to lean into that heart-centered style of leadership. To remember that their power comes not from shining alone, but from helping others shine too. This is especially true in the environments where Leo spends the most time. At work, this might mean mentoring a younger colleague, sharing wisdom, or stepping into a management role they once doubted they could handle. In family life, it may look like being the one who brings people together during conflict, guiding conversations toward healing instead of division. Even in friendships, Leo often becomes the glue, the one who says, "We can get through this," when everyone else feels uncertain. These small moments of leadership matter just as much as the grand ones. September brings opportunities for Leo to recognize that leadership is a calling, not just a talent. It may feel heavy at times, the responsibility of being the one others look to for guidance. But it is also deeply rewarding, because it allows Leo to live in alignment with their true nature. They were never meant to sit quietly on the sidelines. Their spirit was built for courage, visibility, and influence. When they embrace this truth, they step into the flow of their destiny. And it's worth remembering that leadership doesn't mean perfection. Leaders stumble, they make mistakes, they learn. What sets Leo apart is their ability to admit those moments with honesty, to rise again without shame, and to keep moving forward with courage. In doing so, they remind others that growth is a journey, not a straight line. September's energy invites Leo to claim this role with both humility and pride. To step onto the stage not for applause, but for impact. To shine not for themselves alone, but for the ones who need their light. And when they do, they embody the truest form of leadership, one that transforms not just their own life, but the lives of everyone around them. Part 6. Resilience and Inner Strength. If there is one quality that has carried Leo through the storms of the past, it is resilience. September 2025 doesn't just highlight their leadership, it also calls forth the quiet strength that has been building within them for years. Resilience is not about never falling, it's about rising again, even when the fall felt like it broke everything. And for Leo, resilience has become second nature. Each setback, each disappointment, has shaped a core of unshakable determination, the kind that refuses to let life's chaos extinguish their fire. But resilience isn't only about endurance. It's also about adaptability, about finding ways to bend without breaking. Leos are often seen as strong because of their confidence, their boldness, their charisma, yet their true strength lies in their heart, the ability to keep loving, to keep believing, even when they've been hurt. This is the resilience that matters most in September. It's not the loud, dramatic kind, it's the quiet persistence to keep moving forward when no one is watching. In daily life, this might look like a Leo who has faced rejection at work, yet chooses to try again. Or a Leo who has endured heartbreak, yet keeps their heart open to the possibility of love. It can be seen in the parent who juggles responsibilities, exhausted yet determined to create joy for their children. These are not small acts. They are proof that resilience is woven into the very fabric of who Leo is. Still, resilience is not without its challenges. There are moments when even the strongest lion feels tired, when the constant effort to stay strong becomes overwhelming. This is where September offers a reminder. Resilience doesn't mean carrying every burden alone. It means knowing when to lean on others, when to rest, when to allow vulnerability. In truth, strength and softness are not opposites, they are partners. And Leo, with their great heart, is uniquely capable of holding both. September's cosmic energy may stir up old wounds, reminding Leo of battles they thought were long past. But instead of dragging them down, these reminders serve as evidence of just how much they've already overcome. Each scar is not a weakness but a story of survival, proof that they can weather the next storm too. And in that recognition, inner strength grows. As the month unfolds, Leo will find that their resilience doesn't just protect them, it inspires others. People are drawn to the way Leo stays grounded in chaos, how they rise with dignity even after being pushed to the edge. Their resilience becomes a beacon, a reminder to those around them that no matter how difficult life may feel, strength can always be found within. And so, September is not only a test of resilience, it is a celebration of it. Leo is invited to recognize that their inner strength is no accident. It is the foundation upon which their next triumph will be built. The anchor that allows them to face uncertainty with courage. With each challenge, they are not breaking, they are becoming unbreakable. Part 7. Clarity, Awakening, and the Veil Lifting. There comes a moment in every journey when the fog begins to clear. And for Leo, September 2025 is that moment. After months of uncertainty, of questioning what's next, the veil finally lifts. Suddenly, what once felt complicated begins to make sense. The puzzle pieces of past struggles, setbacks, and lessons start to fit together, forming a bigger picture. It is as though Leo is looking at their life through new eyes. Realizing that the challenges they endured were never random, they were stepping stones leading here. Clarity has a way of changing everything. When the mind quiets and the heart speaks louder, decisions that once felt overwhelming suddenly feel obvious. For Leo, this clarity shows up in unexpected ways. A career decision that was once tangled in doubt becomes simple. A relationship that felt confusing reveals its truth. Whether that means deepening commitment or walking away. Even personal goals, the dreams that seemed distant, come back into focus with renewed urgency. This awakening doesn't arrive like a shout, it arrives like a steady, undeniable truth settling into their bones. And with this awakening comes empowerment. Leo begins to recognize the strength of their intuition, the quiet guidance that has always been there. For too long, they may have ignored it, second-guessed themselves, or listened to outside voices that drowned it out. But September brings a turning point, a reminder that their inner knowing is trustworthy. That clarity comes not from outside approval but from listening within. This realization alone brings a sense of freedom, freedom from old doubts, freedom from the weight of others' expectations. Awakening also shifts perspective. The same circumstances that once felt like obstacles now reveal themselves as opportunities. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" Leo begins to ask, "What is this teaching me?" That simple shift changes the way they move through the world. Life no longer feels like a series of random struggles but like a purposeful journey. Every setback has value. Every loss has wisdom. Every challenge has shaped a strength they can now see clearly. It's important to remember that clarity doesn't mean every answer arrives at once. There are still questions, still unknowns, but Leo feels more grounded in their ability to handle them. The fog may not be fully gone, but the path ahead is visible enough to take confident steps forward. And sometimes, that is all that's needed, the courage to take the next step. Even if the whole road isn't revealed. As September unfolds, this clarity becomes a guiding light. It doesn't just shift Leo's perspective, it reshapes their confidence. They begin to carry themselves differently, to speak with more certainty, to act with greater purpose. Others notice, drawn to the quiet strength that comes from someone who knows who they are and where they're going. For Leo, this awakening is more than a moment, it is the beginning of a new way of being. Part 8. Tarot Symbolism, Six of Cups and Healing the Past. When the Six of Cups appears, it often carries with it the fragrance of memory, the sweet pull of nostalgia. For Leo in September 2025, this card is more than a reminder of childhood innocence, it is an invitation to revisit the past with new eyes. The experiences that shaped them, the people who once walked beside them, the triumphs and even the wounds of earlier years all rise to the surface. At first, this can feel like being pulled backward, but in truth, it is the universe gently reminding Leo that their past still holds treasures waiting to be reclaimed. For many, these memories might come in quiet waves. A childhood dream that was long set aside suddenly resurfaces. An old friendship or family story comes back into focus, stirring feelings that were never fully resolved. Even the mistakes that once caused shame may return, not to reopen wounds, but to reveal the lessons hidden within them. The Six of Cups whispers, everything you've lived through has value. No moment has been wasted. No season meaningless. Each one has been shaping the person Leo is now becoming. This card's energy is especially important for Leos who sometimes try to run too quickly into the future. Their fiery nature pushes them to chase what's next, to conquer the next challenge, to shine brighter tomorrow. But the Six of Cups reminds them that strength also lies in pausing, in remembering, in gathering wisdom from the roots that still nourish them. It's a call to reflect, not with regret, but with gratitude. The family who encouraged them, the mentors who challenged them, the hardships that toughened their skin, All of it forms the foundation of who they are today. Healing the past does not mean erasing it. It means making peace with it. For Leo, this might involve forgiving someone who never offered an apology, or releasing the weight of old disappointments that still echo in their heart. It may mean reconnecting with parts of themselves they once abandoned, the creative child who loved to paint, the bold teenager who dared to dream without limits. These pieces are not lost, they are waiting to be embraced again. And in this embrace, something powerful happens. Clarity from part 7 deepens into wisdom. By seeing how far they've come, Leo can better understand where they're headed. They realize that every joy and every sorrow is not just part of their story, it is part of their strength. The Six of Cups doesn't ask them to live in the past, but to carry its lessons forward with love. As September unfolds, this reflection becomes a gift. Leo discovers that healing is not about changing what happened but about transforming how they carry it. By honoring their past, they free themselves to step into the future without chains. And with that freedom, their light grows brighter than ever before. Part 9. Tarot Symbolism, 10 of Swords and the Rock Bottom Lesson. If the Six of Cups invites Leo to look back with tenderness, the 10 of Swords confronts them with honesty. This card is stark. It is the image of endings, of collapse, of moments when the weight of life feels unbearable. For Leo in September 2025, the 10 of Swords is not a warning of doom, but a reminder of what they already know in their bones. Sometimes the lowest point becomes the foundation for the greatest rise. Rock bottom may feel like defeat, but in truth, it is a sacred threshold. For many Leos, this card reflects chapters they've already walked through. The times when jobs were lost, relationships shattered, or dreams seemed to slip away. The moments when they wondered if there was any point in trying again. Those memories still sting, and yet, they also hold the seed of renewal. Every fall taught Leo how to stand taller. Every heartbreak carved out space for deeper love. Every disappointment created resilience that cannot be faked. The 10 of Swords asks Leo to look at those endings not as failures, but as transformations in disguise. September may stir up feelings of exhaustion, as though life has demanded too much for too long. But here lies the paradox. The very moment Leo feels they have nothing left is often the exact moment when new strength awakens. The 10 of Swords whispers, "This is not the end. This is the clearing of space. It is the demolition before the rebuild, the ashes from which the phoenix begins to stir." In that recognition, despair transforms into hope. Think of the American comeback stories that inspire millions, the entrepreneur who went bankrupt before building a legacy, the artist who faced rejection countless times before finally being celebrated, the parent who endured hardship yet built a better life for their children. These stories resonate because they reveal a universal truth: endings are never final. For Leo, the same is true. What seems broken is often being rearranged into something stronger, something more aligned with their true path. In daily life, this might mean finally letting go of a role or relationship that has long drained them. Even if it feels painful, it could mean facing a hard truth, one that feels like a loss in the moment but opens the door to freedom. The 10 of Swords doesn't sugarcoat the pain, it acknowledges it fully. But in doing so, it also promises that pain will not have the last word. As September unfolds, Leo is asked to honor their rock-bottom moments, past or present, not with shame but with gratitude. For those very moments are proof of their resilience, the catalysts for their transformation. When the old self is stripped away, the truest self emerges, and in that emergence, Leo discovers the profound truth hidden within the 10 of Swords. What felt like an ending was always a beginning in disguise. Part 10. Embracing chaos as growth. Chaos is a word that often stirs fear. It suggests unpredictability, disorder, and a loss of control. Yet for Leo in September 2025, chaos is not a punishment but a teacher. The universe is not working against them, it is working to shake loose the things that no longer serve them. And in that shaking, growth becomes possible, just as the soil must be turned over before new seeds can take root. Leo's life may feel unsettled, but it is preparing fertile ground for something greater to grow. At first, chaos can feel overwhelming. The routine that once brought stability might suddenly shift. Conversations may lead to unexpected truths. Plans that seem secure may unravel in a matter of days. Leo might find themselves wondering, why is everything falling apart at once? But when viewed through the lens of transformation, these disruptions are not random. They are the universe's way of clearing space, ensuring that the next chapter is not built on foundations that are weak or false. This is where the myth of the phoenix becomes more than just a story, it becomes a mirror for Leo's journey. The phoenix does not rise without first burning. Its ashes are not a sign of defeat, but of renewal. Similarly, Leo is being invited to see their moments of chaos not as endings but as beginnings in disguise. The fire may feel intense, but within it lies the promise of rebirth. September carries that energy, pushing Leo to trust that out of disorder will come clarity, and out of collapse will come strength. On a practical level, embracing chaos means resisting the urge to control every outcome. It means learning to breathe through uncertainty, to allow life to flow rather than fighting it at every turn. For Leo, this might look like staying calm in a workplace shake-up, or choosing compassion instead of anger during family conflict. It may mean surrendering the need to have all the answers and trusting that the path will reveal itself one step at a time. These are not signs of weakness, they are signs of wisdom. What Leo often forgets is that their light shines brightest not in calm waters, but in storms. They are the ones who can remain steady when others panic. The ones who can turn chaos into opportunity. The ones who can anchor a room simply by being present. This gift is not diminished by challenges, it is refined through them. And so, September becomes a reminder that chaos is not the enemy. It is the soil in which Leo's deepest growth takes root. By embracing it rather than resisting it, they discover that what once felt like destruction is actually the very process that leads to their transformation. Out of disorder comes direction, and out of fire comes the radiant light of a lion stronger than ever before. Part 11. Spiritual Initiation, the Hierophant's Message. Every journey of transformation eventually reaches a point where the changes are not just external, they are deeply spiritual. For Leo in September 2025, this initiation is symbolized by the Hierophant, a card that represents wisdom, higher learning, and sacred guidance. This energy does not arrive with fireworks or applause, it arrives like a quiet mentor, inviting Leo to step into a deeper level of consciousness. It is as though the universe is saying, "You've learned through struggle, now let me show you the deeper meaning behind it all." The Hierophant reminds Leo that growth is not only about personal triumph, it is also about connection to something greater. This could manifest as a renewed sense of faith, a pull toward spiritual practices, or even the guidance of a teacher or mentor who appears at just the right time. For some Leos, this may mean turning back to traditions or rituals that once felt distant but now provide comfort and clarity. For others, it might mean creating new practices, journaling, meditation, or quiet reflection, that bring them closer to their own higher self. What makes this moment so profound is that it reframes the chaos and challenges of previous months. Suddenly, those difficult experiences are not seen as random hardships, but as lessons designed to prepare Leo for this very step. The heartbreak, the loss, the frustration, they become sacred teachers. And through them, Leo begins to see that life is not just about surviving or achieving, but about awakening to purpose. In daily life, this initiation may feel subtle but unmistakable. Perhaps it's the moment when Leo hears a piece of advice that seems to pierce straight to the soul. Or when a conversation with a friend turns into an unexpected moment of revelation. It could even be the quiet realization during a walk, when the noise of the world fades and clarity settles in. These are not accidents, they are signs that Leo is being guided, step by step, toward higher wisdom. Yet, initiation also carries responsibility. It is not about gaining insight and keeping it hidden. It is about living that wisdom, embodying it in choices, in relationships, in leadership. For Leo, this means using their strength not just to shine for themselves, but to illuminate the path for others. The Hierophant reminds them, leadership without wisdom is shallow, but leadership grounded in higher truth can transform lives. As September unfolds, Leo may feel as though they are standing at the threshold of something sacred. They are being invited to release the need to have all the answers and instead trust the guidance of the universe. their ancestors, and their own inner wisdom. This is more than growth, it is initiation. And when Leo steps into it fully, they will discover that the challenges they once resented were the very keys unlocking the door to a deeper, more purposeful existence. Part 12. The Role of the Past, Building with Ancestral Strength. As September continues, Leo is reminded that the future cannot be built without acknowledging the past. The universe doesn't simply ask them to charge ahead blindly, it asks them to pause, to look back, and to draw strength from the journey that brought them here. Every story, every scar, every victory and heartbreak, these are not burdens, but bricks in the foundation of who Leo has become. The past, with all its complexity, is the soil in which resilience and wisdom have grown. For Leo, revisiting the past in this season may feel like peeling back layers. Childhood memories rise to the surface, some sweet and joyful, others bittersweet or even painful. Perhaps it's remembering the encouragement of a parent or mentor who once believed in them, or the sting of betrayal that forced them to stand taller than they thought possible. These memories are not here to trap Leo in regret, they are here to remind them of the depth of their roots. Like a great tree, Leo's branches can stretch toward the sky only because their roots run deep into the ground of experience. Ancestral energy plays a role here too. For some Leos, this might mean recognizing how family traditions or generational stories continue to shape their identity. They may notice patterns, values passed down like treasures, or struggles repeated across generations. September becomes an opportunity to honor both. The strengths inherited from ancestors can become guiding lights, while the painful patterns can finally be broken, freeing not just Leo but those who come after. In this way, healing the past is not just personal, it is collective. Daily life offers simple but profound reminders of this truth. A photograph on a shelf, a childhood song that suddenly plays, a conversation with an elder, these moments stir awareness of the threads that connect past to present. For Leo, reflection may come with a mix of emotions, but it also brings perspective. They begin to see that even the most difficult moments of the past were not wasted. They forged resilience, compassion, and the capacity to lead with authenticity. The role of the past, then, is not to hold Leo back but to fuel their journey forward. By acknowledging where they've come from, they gain clarity on where they are headed. The sacrifices of those before them, the lessons of childhood, the challenges already overcome, these are the silent strengths they now carry into September's transformation. And so, as Leo steps further into the energy of the year of triumph, they do so not as someone beginning from nothing, but as someone standing on the solid ground of history and memory. The past is no longer a weight on their shoulders, it is a well of wisdom they can draw from. With ancestral strength behind them, the road ahead feels less daunting and more like destiny unfolding. Part 13. Love, Compassion, and the Heart of Leo. If there is one quality that defines Leo above all, it is the power of their heart. In September 2025, this becomes more than a theme, it becomes their compass. Love, in all its forms, rises to the surface as both a lesson and a gift. Romantic love may be one expression of it, but the energy is much broader than that. It includes the love Leo gives themselves, the compassion they extend to others, and the warmth they radiate into the world. At its core, this season asks Leo to remember that love is not a weakness, it is their greatest strength. Too often, love is spoken about as something soft or fragile. But for Leo, love is fierce. It is the fuel that drives their courage, the anchor that steadies them in chaos, the force that allows them to rise after every fall. When they lead with love, they are at their most powerful, not because they avoid conflict, but because they face it with compassion and clarity. September invites them to lean into this heart-centered power, to choose peace not out of passivity, but out of wisdom. In everyday life, this may appear in simple yet profound ways. A Leo might find themselves softening in a tense conversation, choosing empathy instead of anger. They may feel called to forgive someone who has hurt them, not to excuse the pain, but to free themselves from carrying it. Or they may begin to practice deeper self-love, setting healthier boundaries, and speaking to themselves with kindness instead of criticism. These choices, though small in the moment, ripple outward, shaping the way others experience their presence. This emphasis on love also reconnects Leo to their role as a giver of light. Friends, family, co-workers, even strangers, are drawn to their warmth. In September, Leo may notice more people seeking their advice, leaning on them for comfort, or simply being lifted by their energy. The universe is highlighting what Leo has always carried, the ability to heal and empower through love. It is not about fixing others, but about showing them what is possible when compassion is at the center of life. And love, in its truest form, always comes back multiplied, when Leo chooses to embody love, through patience, forgiveness, or generosity. They begin to attract the same energy into their own life. Relationships deepen, opportunities open, and a sense of inner peace grows stronger. This isn't about living in a fantasy, it's about aligning with a truth that has always been theirs. When they put love first, they become unstoppable. As September moves forward, Leo discovers that their greatest victories will not come from force or control, but from leading with love. It is their essence, their gift, their true superpower, and when they embrace it fully, they don't just transform their own life, they inspire others to do the same. Part 14. Empowering others and becoming a beacon. As September unfolds, Leo begins to realize that their journey is no longer just about personal triumph. It's about the impact they have on others. Leadership and love, which have been recurring themes throughout this season, come together here in a new form, empowerment. Leo is not being called only to shine for themselves, they are being asked to help others find their light too. In doing so, they step into their most authentic role, a beacon of strength, wisdom, and inspiration. There is something magnetic about the way Leo carries themselves when they're aligned with their heart. People feel it in their presence, a quiet reassurance, a sense that no matter how chaotic things may seem, everything will be okay. September highlights this gift, drawing others toward Leo's energy. Friends may look to them for advice, colleagues may lean on them during times of stress, and loved ones may simply feel steadier when Leo is near. What may feel natural or even ordinary to them is, in fact, extraordinary. The ability to uplift without even trying. Empowering others does not mean solving their problems. It means reminding them of their own strength, encouraging them to step into their potential, and offering compassion when they falter. For Leo, this might look like mentoring someone at work, listening without judgment when a friend is struggling, or modeling resilience for their family. These moments, though small, ripple outward. Each person Leo helps carries that energy forward, creating a chain of empowerment that extends far beyond what Leo can see. Yet, empowerment is not only about what Leo gives, it's also about what they learn. By helping others, they refine their own wisdom. They see parts of themselves reflected in the people they guide. They remember their own struggles, and in offering support, they heal pieces of their past. This exchange deepens their growth, reminding them that leadership is never a one-way street. It is a shared journey, where both the leader and those they inspire are transformed. In American culture, we often celebrate the lone hero, the one who rises above and conquers alone. But Leo's story in September is different. Their triumph is collective. Their true power comes not from standing apart, but from standing with. By choosing to empower others, Leo creates communities of strength, weaving connections that will carry them through the rest of 2025 and beyond. As the month draws to a close, Leo begins to see themselves not just as a survivor or even as a leader, but as a beacon, a source of light in dark places, a reminder that resilience, love, and courage are contagious, and in that role, they discover a new kind of fulfillment, one that no challenge, no chaos, can ever take away. Part 15. Conclusion. September as the doorway. As September 2025 draws to a close, Leo stands at the threshold of something extraordinary. The month has not been easy, it has stirred restlessness, unearthed memories, shaken foundations, and demanded resilience. Yet through it all, clarity has arrived. What once felt like chaos now reveals itself as a carefully woven design. Every ending has pointed to a beginning. Every challenge has been a lesson in disguise. And now, Leo can see that this month was never just another chapter, it was the doorway into a new life. This transformation is not just about external achievements, though those will surely come. It is about the internal shift that changes everything else. Leo has learned the difference between surviving and thriving. They have felt the power of resilience and recognized the wisdom of their past. They have embraced love not as a fleeting emotion, but as a force of strength, a compass guiding every decision. And they have discovered that their role in this world is not only to shine for themselves, but to illuminate the path for others. September becomes a reminder that destiny does not arrive all at once, it reveals itself step by step. Each moment of courage, each act of love, each decision to grow rather than shrink brings Leo closer to the life they were meant to live. The Year of Triumph is not a slogan, it is a reality being shaped right now. And while the journey ahead will still have twists and turns, Leo now carries the tools, the clarity, and the wisdom to navigate it with grace. In daily life, this may look like simple choices, speaking truth instead of staying silent, offering compassion instead of judgment, taking a risk instead of holding back. But these choices, small as they seem, ripple outward, creating a future that reflects Leo's true power. September has shown them that leadership rooted in love, resilience shaped by challenge, and wisdom drawn from the past are the keys to their triumph. And so, Leo steps through the doorway of September with confidence. Ahead lies opportunity, growth, and a deeper alignment with their true self. Behind them lies a past that no longer holds them down but instead strengthens their stride. They carry the fire of the lion, the clarity of awakening, and the compassion of a heart that knows its purpose. The story of September 2025 is not the end, it is the spark of what comes next. For Leo, the transformation is already underway, and the best chapters are still to come. The road ahead will not be easy, but it will be worth it. Because this is the season when Leo stops asking, "When will it happen?" and begins declaring, "It is happening now."